Hi, very good morning to you. This is a big issue. My name is Selon Adun. Welcome to your platform for incisive analysis and riveting conversation. The show, as always, is live and interactive. The WhatsApp lines to reach us on are 020-444-7033 or 0549-986-996. The numbers, those of you watching us on television, are displayed on your screens. We are live on 97.3 City FM as well. This morning, we have two major issues we'll be broaching for you. The Anti-Galamsey Task Force, these days known as NIMOS, strikes with recent arrests. A number of arrests were made in the past week, equipment seized, and many other things happening. But it does appear that even though so much may be happening or appears to be happening, we are not seeing the outcomes. The water bodies are refusing to clear, and there are more people still engaged in it. People who travel in some of those areas say that you could hear the sound of machines, chamfans, generators, etc., deep in the areas, mining illegally. What else must be done? Arrests are being made. Are these the right persons we are arresting, or these are just people who do not matter in the fight, the low-hanging fruits? When we arrest them, what do we do to them? Do we try to find out who sponsors them, or who is their paymasters, or who their employers are? These are the matters we'll be dealing with. And government or the state has begun some work on prosecution. Wontumi, the Ashanti Regional Chairman of the NPP, is being prosecuted for his role in illegal mining in some forests reserves in the Western region. Is this the way we want? Are these the actions we expect, going after the big guns? And what signal will it send to his contemporaries who are also engaged, allegedly, in similar activities? Now, Ghana and the U.S. Appear to have something going. The deportation of some persons in the U.S. to Ghana. The Foreign Affairs Minister told us a couple of weeks ago that they agreed to the arrangement because the deportations were in respect of West African nationals. And for solidarity and Pan-Africanism, they agreed to take some of these persons who were not criminals but only found themselves illegally into the U.S. and that they were not going to accept criminals, whether they were West Africans or not. In the course of the week, we heard that, a criminal from El Salvador was to be deported to Ghana. That raised a lot of eyebrows and questioned the foreign minister's comment or statement to Ghanaians. He swiftly went back on Facebook to say that Ghana was not taking in the gentleman and that no such agreement had been reached, and emphatically making the point that Ghana was not going to accept that gentleman into the country because he didn't meet any of the requirements Ghana was looking at. He wasn't a West African national, so he was a criminal and other things. So Ghana was not taking. That's what he said. But many have called for transparency. Many have asked to see or to be told what the arrangement or the deal between the U.S. is. Mind you, this did not go to Parliament because the Foreign Affairs Minister says, per the advice of the Attorney General, it did not have to go to Parliament. But there are others who have said that this is an international agreement, and by the Constitution, international agreements are to be ratified by Parliament. So what happened in this case? Why is this not an international agreement? That matter is being discussed as well in some quarters. But given the new information about the gentleman from El Salvador and the Foreign Affairs Minister's response, calls have been renewed for transparency to see really what the arrangement is. These two matters will be engaging our attention the whole of this morning, and I will take a short break. I'll return. I'll provide you some updates, and then we'll get a discussion underway. This is a big issue. You're welcome.
Announcing Ghana's first unlimited photocopier leasing. Yes, from just 983 Ghana cedis, you can lease a multifunctional photocopier and print unlimited. Yes, unlimited and free paper every month. Guess what? That's not all. Toners, repairs, and maintenance all are free. And oh, I'm not kidding at all. And we cover the whole country. Yes, the whole country. What are you waiting for? Just visit us at www.valexlease.com or call 0244 644048. Remember, terms and conditions apply. Valex Lease, affordable document management solutions.
In a world filled with challenges, we all need guidance, hope, and a lifeline to anchor us.
This is Lifeline, and I'm your host, Fred Crunchy Mensah.
From social issues, relationship challenges, and family matters, Lifeline is here to inspire, uplift, and guide you on your journey.
Where we give you support, where we hold your hand through the valley and through the thick and thins of life.
Join Bishop Fred Crunchy Mensah.
I welcome you especially to Lifeline.
Every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 p.m. right here on Channel 1 TV. Let's walk this path together, strengthen our faith, our families, and our lives. Lifeline, because every soul deserves a guiding light. Tune in to Lifeline on Channel 1 TV and let's grow together.
You're welcome back. This is The Big Issue. We are live on 97.3 City FM. We are on Facebook and YouTube as well. And of course on Channel 1 Television. I am Selom Adonu. Today we are looking at two key issues. The Anti-Galamsey Task Force, these days known as the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat, NIMOS, has made some arrests in the course of the week. In the Prisia-Honi Valley area, a place called Gangway, and so many other places. And a number of arrests were made, and then equipment were also seized. These people have been handed over to the police, we understand, and the police will take it up from there. They've been doing this arrest and been trying to do the work, but it does appear that the results are not showing as we want to see them. What is the problem? Is there something they are not doing right? Are they not getting to the right places? Are they targeting the wrong people, etc.? What is it that we have to do again? The minister has been running up and down, trying to get his head wrapped around the problem. The president has also been speaking, talking about actions they are doing or they are taking. Last week, CSOs were met. President told them what they were doing. They took some views from CSOs, etc. But the problem doesn't appear to be going away. The turbidity levels are not clearing up or coming down. What else can be done? This is what I want to hear from you. What else can be done? And we are happy to hear from you on 020-444-7033 or 0549-986-996. Prosecution in respect of illegal mining started. Wontumi is being prosecuted for some actions he took allegedly in illegal mining in forest reserves. But it's also been said that it's easy to arrest and start prosecuting persons like Wontumi because they are political opponents. We've also heard names of some people in this government. What is the status of that? Of course, we hear Iyoko is on it, and how long is Iyoko going to take to arrive at some conclusion that the prosecutorial powers or prosecutorial institutions can use can use in court? We will look at all of that this morning. Also, Ghana-US relations, some development there. U.S. says they were deporting a gentleman to Ghana from El Salvador. Foreign Affairs Minister for Ghana, Okudzeto Ablakwa, says there's been nothing like that, and the gentleman will not be accepted in Ghana, and that only West African nationals without any criminal background are welcome per the agreement. What is the agreement? there's been renewed calls for us to see what's in that agreement, what is Ghana getting, and all of that. We will look at that in some more detail in the course of the program. Now, let me provide you some updates, then I will introduce my guests. The National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat, NIMOS, has arrested 2 Chinese nationals for engaging in illegal mining activities within the Tano Anwea Forest Reserve in the Jomoro area of the western north, in the northern region. The arrest followed an intelligence-led operation conducted on Wednesday, and according to NIMOS, the task force was initially denied access to the forest by some forest guards, but managed to gain entry after a brief standoff. Once inside, the team discovered ongoing illegal mining activities along the Tano River, where a Toyota Land Cruiser V8 with registration number GR 44214 was seen fleeing the scene. 2 Chinese nationals were apprehended, while a third suspect, believed to be a Ghanaian, escaped. The task force uncovered extensive environmental destruction, including diversion of the Tano River. 4 excavators were found at the site, 3 already immobilized, and 1 neutralized by the task force. Additionally, 2 heavy water pumping machines and 12 makeshift wooden structures used by the miners were also destroyed. Now, if you recall, prior to election 2024, the TUC, together with organized labor, mobilized themselves and wanted to embark on a nationwide strike. They were eventually talked out of it, or as the TUC would say, they did not reach a certain consensus necessary for the success of that strike. It's been some 9-10 months into the new administration's tenure, and TUC has begun beating the war drums again. In this week, they went to some areas where Galamsey is endemic, and they came back with some reports, and they have asked the government to stop the talk and act, because the devastation was real, and the devastation was eating deep into the environment. This is the TUC speaking after that exercise.
The TUC will apply measures to support the fight against Galamsey. At the core of these measures will be to exert maximum pressure on government and its agencies to act decisively on Galamsey. Comrades, this ends our statement. Government must act decisively and must act now. Galamsey must stop. Enough the meetings, enough the advocacy, enough the talking. We need action now.
All right, so that was TUC General Secretary speaking there, or Secretary General speaking there after their tour. My guest this morning, Professor Sharif Mahmood, Economic Advisor Office of the Vice President, the Honorable Collins Adomaku-Mensah, Member of Parliament, Ifija Kwabre South, former Deputy Minister for Energy, Franklin Kujo, President, Imani Africa, Shandof Ayurebi Akwa, Media Relations Officer for the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, and then Richard Kumadu is a security consultant. Gentlemen, you're welcome to the program. I start off with you, Honorable MP. Good to have you on the show once again. But it does appear that in the last few weeks and months, there's been some heightened talk and maybe activity on Galamsey and illegal mining. What's your assessment of the heightened activity from officialdom? We see the minister running up and down, trying to get things done, etc., here and there. What's your general assessment of the activity on that front? Of course, the media is also heightening reporting on it, etc. But what's your general assessment of everything put together?
Yeah, good morning to yourself and to the other panelists. Just a little correction. I'm for Ifija Kwabre North.
Ifija Kwabre North. My apologies.
South, yes.
My apologies.
My constituency is Ifija Kwabre North.
My apologies.
Yes, I've seen some, as you rightly put it, a lot of activities around Galamsey. For me, it's not about the activities, it's about the results. We just listened to the TUC General Secretary, who, in the company of other Labour colleagues, visited some Galamsey sites. And if you listen to what he just said, it's quite clear that the major activities, as you described it, that we are seeing are not resulting or getting to the result that we all expect Galamsey to get to. It's quite unfortunate. On my part, I've said on several platforms that I'm prepared as an individual to assist government in whatever way to ensure that this dangerous menace of Galamsey is brought to its barest minimum. I have witnessed the effect of Galamsey. You know, I'm from the Ashanti region. Although my constituency, we don't have any Galamsey activities there, but I've visited other colleagues.
Because there's no gold in the soil in the land.
I've visited other colleagues, especially in the Manso areas, and my brother, it's terrible. It's really, really terrible. Sometimes you get there and just last week or last 2 weeks, I think City also reported, I was then in Fomena attending a funeral when a pit collapsed and killed about 5 or 6 young men who had dug, in search of gold. And so I've experienced and seen the devastating nature of Galamsey. And so it's my wish that we all come together as a people to ensure that we bring this very terrible menace under control. The politicization will not help. My brother, I'm telling you, if I decide to respond to what the NDC said prior to the elections, I'm sure we will come back next year having the same discussion. I think we should move away from the general politicization of the issue to confront the issue head on. Otherwise, as I said, we'll be back here next year discussing the same issue. So to your question, if you asked about the activities, yes, I've seen a lot of activities. The president is talking, the minister is running around, but TUC is telling you that what is happening on the ground does not reflect the rhetoric being made by the president and the minister. And I think the minister and the president and the government should go beyond the rhetorics into action.
So, I mean, going beyond the rhetorics to action, what should that action be?
They promise some few things. I believe that they can start from there. They promise that they are going to repeal the LI 2462. I'm just told that the minister had sent some documentations to the Attorney General and that when Parliament resumes, that will be laid. I'm just hoping that this time round, it will be laid. Because the earlier promise, when they came to Parliament, it was an amendment instead of a repeal. I'm just hoping that they will make do with that promise. They talk about using AI to fight Galamsey. I have not seen any activity around that as promised in their manifesto. The president talked about going after the kingpins. I'm sure NASA Security can assist him in that regard with investigations to get to the kingpins, as he put it. So I think the first thing they should do is to fulfill the promises they made to the Ghanaian people. And I'm sure we'll take it from there. But as I said, on my part, and I believe on the part of the political party I belong to, we are prepared to assist the government in any way possible to ensure that we get to the bottom of this matter.
Of course, I'm sure in the past some work also was done on this in that respect. But won't it be too early to begin to see results? It took a long time for the devastation to occur. And given the nature of the problem we've been made to understand, of course, in the election era times, we heard that there were some 4 to 5 million people involved in that ecosystem. Won't it be too early to expect that, to be seeing tangible results,
Well, I don't think I put a gun to Mr. Sir George's head when he told all of us that if the then president was serious, he needed just 10 days to fight Galamsey. I didn't put a gun to him to say that. I don't think I put a gun to the now current lands minister who said Nana Akufo-Addo should declare a state of emergency. I don't think I put a gun to Okujeto Ablakwa when he told us that we should declare a state of emergency. My good friend Haruna Idris, my fellow Vandal, he said same. I don't think I put a gun to their head. And so if today I'm demanding that they fulfill their promises, I don't think I'm out of place. And I don't think time is of essence now in regards to your question. I know, yeah, it takes time to fight Galamsey, but I know they knew that. They knew it takes time to fight Galamsey. But they were telling us that if Akufo-Addo, His Excellency, was very serious, he needed just 10 days. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama did say that, oh, Mr. Akufo-Addo, you have the military by your side, you have the power, use the power. I'm sure now the power has been given to him. If he needs more time, he should be candid enough to come back to the Ghanaian people and say that the posturing of his political party and assigns of his political party before the elections, he can easily come and seek more time and say that yes, he needs more time to deal with this issue. That kind of candor will also assist us to accept that kind of narration that you are giving, that time is of essence. But I didn't put a gun to them. They promised these things. And so I'm well within my right to seek some clarifications from them on the basis of the promises they made.
I see. Let me speak to Richard Kumado, who is a security consultant. Richard, good morning. Good to have you. Welcome to the program. We've seen and heard that the guys engaged in the illegal mining activity are heavily armed. I don't know how they got armed, but once it's an economic activity and there are others seeking to deprive them of their livelihood, I mean, that becomes a security issue, and they will fight it, they will resist it, and it becomes a security matter. But given the increased activity on the media front, and we've seen government officials making statements here and there, trying to indicate their commitment to the fight, from the security standpoint, what assessment will you give to this?
So we said that 9 months is not just doing a security operation, but they are carrying their national interests along. And considering the devastating nature of the issue we are talking about, they need to show strength and they need to show presence. And they need to carry the media along. And once their work is being assessed by the media, it will help to allay the fears of Ghanaians. Other than that, they might be doing the work and nobody gets to know what they are doing. So on that score, we can score them very high. But it goes beyond that. What 9 months has done, they are using, I think, 2-layer approach. There are 3 regions in this country where, by the way, we did a security risk assessment for the past 5 years, and we realized that out of the original 10 regions, there are only 2 that you do not have Galamsey activities or inappropriate mining. There are other 2 that you have minimal inappropriate mining, which is also of a concern. But you have about 6 regions where there's aggressive.
Before that, what are the 2? What are the 2 where no illegal mining is occurring?
No, Greater Accra and the Volta region.
Greater Accra. Is it because there is no gold in the soil, right? Or we've not found gold in the soil?
No, wait, you are dragging me into politics.
No. I mean, I just want to understand the reasons. Is it that leadership in these regions are bent on not allowing it, or it's just because there's no gold there, so there's no point in people prospecting or trying to go mine? And I'll be interested to know the 2 other regions where there's minimal activity.
There were 3 questions. There were 3 questions in that regard. And we divided Volta region into Volta and Oti region. We divided them into 7 zones. And out of the 7 zones, we add 3 to 5 questions in this regard. That would the chiefs and the community leaders allow inappropriate mining to happen when it gets to them? And the answers were very big no, and they were vehement in saying no, to the extent because of the style we use and because of the approach we use. It took them some time to realize that we are doing a survey and we are doing a security risk assessment in relation to Galamsey. So they opened up, and the answer was definitely no. When it came to Greater Accra, we divided Greater Accra into 8 zones, and we asked the same questions. Some of the answers we get point to the fact that they emphasize that they would not allow, but then human dynamics change until something else happens. That is what we have on the grounds now. So it is a known knowledge. So now when you have 6 regions where you have predominantly high levels or medium to high levels aggressiveness of inappropriate mining, that is the background of where NIMOS is coming from when you look at the composition of NIMOS and the tasks given to them. For 3 specific regions, they are speaking to a lot of informants and a lot of contacts they establish as frontliners in one particular region. In the other region, out of the 3, they are doing what we call spot checks. So the element of surprise to the Galamseyers is very high. In the other region, they are sending the frontliners into the field and to ensure that they distract and crash whatever they see aside. The reason being that they have 3 objectives. They want to distract the activities of the inappropriate miners. Number 2, they want to prevent them from coming to the site or to access the site. And number 3, they want to curtail the activities of the inappropriate miners. When we assess what they have done so far, to the extent that they warn that there will be disciplinary actions for people they found doing inappropriate mining, we can say that we can score them very high. Now, when you score them, the disciplinary actions when it comes to the inappropriate miners go way beyond what NIMOS does. So if there are various forms of disciplinary actions and punitive actions, NIMOS takes it directly, or the Attorney General, who is the #1 prosecutor in this country, takes that. But when prosecution becomes an option on the table, then the BNI, the police, comes in to prepare the evidence against the inappropriate miners, and it goes to the chief prosecutor, which is the Attorney General. So this is the shared responsibility, and this is the ways and means to get to the end of driving the inappropriate miners, particularly at areas like Cape 3 Point, where you have high volumes of cocoa coming, and it has drained in for some time. So that is where we are, Salom.
I see. But these activities we have seen, okay, now let's deal with the arrests. Are the arrests the way to go? I mean, the kinds of people they are arresting. Is that the way to go?
Okay, so there has been an issue about getting to the campaigns in Galamsey. We all know there is a well knowledge that based on the research we did for 5 years continuously, it is true that Galamsey has evolved into organized crime. So what I suggestively recommended recently is that because of my background in fraud prevention and money laundering for that matter, NIMOS will need to establish a simple toll-free line which is recognizable and identifiable by all, and calls to this number will need to hit the dashboard of the BNI, YOCO, FIC, Gold Board, the Forestry Commission, and the EPA. That is also one way of tracking the campaigns who might be financing or who are directly financing the inappropriate minings we are talking about. But then again, one of the reasons why you arrest is to interview the frontliners who are engaging in the inappropriate mining.
Exactly.
Or to question them like what the BNI would do. So that is why I cleverly use the word disciplinary action and inappropriate action. There are various levels and various dynamics it comes with, except when prosecution becomes an option on the table. So once they interview them, which the police will do, and the BNI questions them, it gives them a lead to get to who are the kingpins, whether they are in Ghana or they are out of Ghana. Because remember, when it comes to organized crime, you can even commit crime in absentia. You do not just charge people or try them in absentia, but they have the ability of committing crime in absentia. So that is also the reason why they need to arrest them. And just like you know, with every police operation or law enforcement operation, once they arrest the people, it does two things. It helps them to scan them and to profile them. Then number two, they take them out of the place. And number three, it helps them to destabilize or to disrupt the activities of inappropriate manners before they regroup again. If we are talking about 400 members of NIMOS, and you have 21 zones that has been classified to be highly safety or insecurity zones where inappropriate minors have occupied, then you just need about 20 men to be stationed at those places on a rotational basis and have just about 50 or 60 other people in the control room that may come in as to help the first respondent. And you will succeed in distracting the activities, curtailing their movements, and prevent them from coming. So when you see a number of arrests being done, they will need to explain to you, but looking at it from security enforcement point of view or from security intelligence management point of view, it helps them to interview them, to investigate them, take a disciplinary action, and to prosecute if that becomes what the Attorney General wants.
I see. Let me speak to Khalid Sharif Mahmood, who is the Economic Advice Officer of the Vice President. Good to see you again. Welcome to the program, Khalid. Do you need more time as a government to start showing us real results? Okay, so I understand Khalid is not ready. He's joining us on Zoom. But yes, let me stay with you, Richard. Do you think that government needs more time, contrary to what we were told by functionaries of the present government, then in opposition, about the fight against Galamsey? You think that some of those comments were hurriedly made and now they need more time to be able to deal with the matter? Hello, Richard, can you hear me?
Okay, ask the question again, sir.
Yes, I'm saying that, do you think that government needs more time, contrary to what some of its functionaries, then in opposition, told us about the fight against Galamsey? Given all that we have seen, you think that they really need more time to deal with the problem to make us begin seeing results, or you think they need greater will and activity on the ground to make it work? Time or greater will?
So, anytime you bring politicians to your show, when I speak as a professional, they want to beat me. Today, tell my brothers who are politicians that they shouldn't beat me. I'm speaking as a professional.
Yes, sir. Nobody will beat you.
I have put in 29 years, and the state is my constituency. And so I beg them, they shouldn't beat me. Okay, so when you take politics aside, Salom, guess what? There are 5 or 4 interests into this inappropriate money we are talking about. There's an investment interest, there's a business interest, there's a political interest, and there's a national security interest, and there's a national interest, these 5 interests. Now, when you take away all the interests and you leave just the national interest and the national security interest in this matter, we will resolve it within a year. We will resolve it within a year. So you will see that because the president is not coming on the state of emergency, the president can do 2 things actually. One is to declare certain strategic locations a security zone, which give exclusive access to only security officers, and by that matter, NIMOS. And to say that NIMOS have exclusive right to these locations and all activities that occur here will have to be security operations. Any other operations is not allowed, and you must seek permission for it to be granted. Then number 2, we can act on the state of emergency, or no, on the state of urgency. You just asked me why is NIMOS arresting everybody everywhere. They are acting on a state of urgency. But after they acted on a state of urgency, by making sure that the reclassification that has been done, they are applying security intelligence in arresting the frontline inappropriate minors. What goes on next goes a little bit way beyond what the NIMOS people will do, and that is why it gets into the arena of governance, it gets into the arena of politics. But then again, if you also take politics out of it, then you will realize that when you have large areas, 6 big regions where inappropriate mining or inappropriate digging of the forest is concerned, you will need a little bit of methodological work to get it done. When the president met the CEOs, CSOs, one of the things that came up is that punitive action for the frontliners came up. Then others also asked for state of emergency now. You will need to look at it and say that if we are not going with the state of emergency, then let's go with the 2, act on certificate of urgency and declare certain locations a security zone. And to that regard, you can see the work of 9 months, but we are law enforcers. When we enforce the law, it goes beyond what we do after the first and second and third layers have been cleared. So we will leave the rest for the central government and all the agencies to do. Because I have worked in a bank before, and I'm a consultant to the Compliance Association of this country and many other countries, I know the relationship between criminal behavior, which are stated clearly in my latest book, Criminal Behavior, Corporate Crime and Investigation. I also know the relationship between illegal mining or inappropriate mining and financial crime. And you have set up an institution called the Financial Intelligence Center to deal predominantly with money laundering. And you could see and trace it there. So that once you are not just arresting the young ones and getting rid of the bigger fishes, you will get a job done. But Shalom, have you asked yourself, who are these big fishes who will want to destroy everybody for only them to prosper? It goes beyond that. There might be people who are political financiers, and you need some level of courage and mastermind energy in order to get them prosecuted. So that is where we are.
Great. Prof. Khalid, Sharif Mahmood is back on, Economic Advice Office of the Vice President. Good morning. Good to have you once again, Khalid. The question I was trying to ask initially before you, is do we need more time? Does government need more time to deal with this problem? Hello, Sharif? Hello, Sharif. Kindly unmute and let's see.
Yes.
Oh. Yes, great. We can hear you now. No, you are muted again.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
we can hear you now.
Yeah.
Yes, I can hear you now. Kindly talk if you heard my question.
Well, I didn't hear your question.
Yeah, so my question is, it's been 9-10 months into the administration's tenure. We had a lot in opposition, and it created the impression that the solutions were ready to be implemented once you took up power. The situation doesn't look pretty. I'm not sure if it's getting worse or it's the same or it's improving, but the situation obviously doesn't look pretty. Do we need more time to deal with the problem, or what exactly is it that is preventing us from achieving the goals we set for ourselves when we're in opposition?
Right. Salam. Good morning to your cherished listeners. And it's nice to be on your platform again. I mean, this quite, I don't know whether to call it a trick question or what it is, but it's an interesting one to ask. In this whole conundrum of Galamsey and given his hydra-headed nature, I don't think calling for time, it's good prudence to ask for. But the fundamental question to ask here is that, can we have a postmortem of the last 9 months? In the last 9 months, what drastic measures and steps have been taken to, as it may, ameliorate this situation of Galamsey? I think if we try to, as it may, between you and I and the various stakeholders out there, to sort of deconstruct the effort put by the government of the day in trying to ameliorate the situation, then it may lead to answering the question of whether there is more time or not.
I see. So what would, if we were to start a post-mortem analysis, what would be the major highlights of that analysis, for the last 9-10 months?
I mean, Salam, as you and I would know, a community known as Subin in the Western region, right, was predominantly born out of Galamsey, or would I say hatched out of Galamsey. The government has exterminated that. It's restored normalcy and declared it a Galamsey-free area. You also would realize that certain forest reserve that hitherto used also to be Galamsey infested has been, the government has put in effort to reclaim these, to put them back to their normal status as reserve or forest reserve zones. A lot of efforts have been going on, including executive level, ministerial level, which is still part of the executive, the task force team by the Gold Board, in terms of, because you would realize that the entire value chain ends up at the sales point of it. So the Gold Board is also trying to play a critical role here. The national security is playing a critical role. The Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources is playing a critical role. So you'd see that various efforts have been put in place as far as trying to ameliorate the situation of Galamsey. And I do understand that there are insistent calls for us to have a state of emergency. But Salom, the fundamental question I ask is, if the commander-in-chief and president takes over office and it's just been 9 months or let's say 8 months, and he's come to inherit a hydra-headed beast such as Galamsey, his last resort to solving the situation, which many are clamoring for, is a state of emergency. Would you go for the last resort? Obviously not. You would have to have a real assessment of the situation, right, based on expert opinion and advice to take a prudent measure. Some areas have been declared security zones already. And I always state that security zones are sort of mimicking a state of emergency, because when we're talking or declaring an area a security zone, it means there's no thoroughfare, there's no activities of Galamsey ongoing, among other issues. As you'd also know, there's been a pause on the issuance of licenses to small-scale miners, because you realize that the essence of issuing small-scale mining certificates is being defeated by Galamsey. The law prescribing the issuance of such licenses was to empower Ghanaians, which is why it makes small-scale mining the sole preserve of Ghanaians and not foreigners, to be part of the gold mining chain or value chain. But you realize that it's been abused over the period of time. And the more licenses people have, it is very difficult actually to determine who is illegal and who is not illegal when you have proliferation of licenses. So let's say if you had 48 licenses compared to 2,000, you'd realize that it'd be more difficult to control people or persons holding 2,000 plus licenses than those holding 48. So which is why the government has also deemed it prudent to put a pause on this. Security patrols have increased, right? Excavators, which play an integral role in illegal mining activities, if you see, become very stringent now at the ports to import or to clear an excavator. So several issues have been put in place, right? And I think that also we do talk about some comparative scientific issues, such as the turbidity of water. I do say, right, reservedly, that for us to have a real constructive discussion of the wanton dissipation Galamsey has had over a period of time, can we plot several graphs covering a period, let's say from the year 2000 or 2020 or a 10-year lag period, to see where there is intensity in the turbidity of water, which is a reflection of Galamsey activities. That way we can be able to say, or we'll be able to say whether indeed, right, what measures have been put in place are not reflecting for the positive. Other than that, it's quite a vexed subject when you talk about Galamsey issues. It's a mix of emotions, and because based on some of the impacts that we see and the ravages we see, and science and social impacts, right? So how to unpack this and have a real understanding is often the problem. But as you see, the government of the day is continuously putting efforts at that. They're reclaiming forest reserves. They're putting the Marine Guards on the field. They're putting the military on the field. But I've always said, in time immemorial, and I've been consistent with this, that putting military or bootstrap men on the ground, it's just not the only panacea to Galamsey or the menace of Galamsey. What Galamsey has become, or the hydra-headed beast it has become, is that it cuts across the value chain, as you'd see, such that you are unable to even identify who the pinstripe mafia are. Those on the ground that get arrested on a daily basis probably have no clue who they are working for, right? It is a livelihood issue. It is a national security threat. How do we solve this? It's a fundamental question that we need to answer. And as a government, we're putting prudent measures in place, as I have listed a litany of issues that the government is doing. So these are the issues that the president of the day need to exhaust before one could begin to talk about a state of emergency. That is not to say the government of the day is ruling out a state of emergency.
I see. But, you know, Khalid, the issue about the financiers or the real kingpins has been difficult to get or to see. Yes, partly so. But there have been some names which have been mentioned in the past. Indeed, the president did tell us that they were going to put trackers on excavators. And are we saying that a lot of these machines or vehicles or excavators, you know, seized at the mining sites don't have names at the DVLA, for example? If they are businesses, if they are registered in the name of companies, don't you have directors registered at the Office of the Registrar General of Companies? I mean, there should certainly be a way of getting to those people. And, you know, like you say, the guys we arrest, they may not even know who they are working for. So they are really not the targets, even though we have to arrest everybody because they are the people doing the real devastation. But I'm not impressed with the fact that so far, perhaps apart from Muntumi, who is an easy catch, there's been no real kingpin named in this many years since the fight against Galamsey, you know, heightened.
Salam, this is a very interesting question again. And, you know, internally, there's probably this example that I'm about to give, which may not be a popular one. You'd realize that the president asked the attorney general, when names did come up, right, when some people referred to even party functionaries who were never in the history of this country as a sitting president, cause or asked his attorney general to investigate leading members or leading political office holders of his party or the ruling party that has their names mentioned alongside Galamsey operations. But this has happened. So it tells you again the sort of concerted efforts that have been put in place. That said, you know, when you talk about company registration and businesses, for me, I would leave this to the security operations. These excavators that have been seized, they should come out with a list. But you and I know, I mean, as a lawyer, you would know that sometimes like there is a clock around or a veil. Until you lift the veil, you wouldn't know who actually the real owners of a company are. So maybe they're creating, you know, shell companies and using these shell companies to register these excavators, as you may see. But you make a fundamental point, and I would call on the security agencies and the law legal institutions that are mandated to look at these to actually help us lift the veil of ownerships of these excavators, not just excavators, a Shanfan. I do understand from recent conversations that they are locally manufacturing Shanfans, but before they could manufacture them locally. How could a Shanfan get into this country? Through which ports? Through which borders? These are all fundamental questions we need to ask our security agencies. When was the first Shanfan smuggled into this country? How did it get in? So these are all the key vital questions that we need to ask. And for me, I think that this is where all the state security agencies, the immigration, the customs, among others, should all come in. Because I say this is not just a fight that we should designate as a sole preserve of a president. It is a fight for all of us. It is a fight for all state agencies that ought to play a critical role in actually ameliorating this Galamsey menace.
I see. Let me come back to you, studio. Honorable Adoma Kumensa. Yes, it does appear that it's not as simple as we thought. But earlier in the week, the board chair of the Forestry Commission made some interesting points on this network. And he, of course, not novel, but he seems to suggest that people have realized that there is money in mining, and that is the main motivation, which is the case. And that because of lack of alternative sources of livelihood in the villages and the chronic poverty that exists in our rural areas. You know, we see this, and that's a quote for him. I'll get a voice clip and play that. So it does appear that we want to solve a problem, but the reason for which we have the problem, we have not tackled it. So we want the people to stop mining, but we've not provided them with alternative sources of income or livelihood. That becomes difficult because when you sack them and you leave, when they go, they must eat. So they find another way of coming back, you know. Of course, there's also the analogy that doesn't mean that if you don't have food to eat, then you engage in armed robbery. Does that make it right? But we know what the situation is. It is the lack of opportunity in those areas and many other places that has made these young people vulnerable to the so-called kingpins and getting them employed in this kind of thing. Have we not, you know, failed to create the proper environment to win this fight ourselves?
Well, Salom, you've been in the media space for some time, and listening to my very good friend Khalid, and not just him, other government communicators, I'm happy we are moving to a certain stage where the rhetoric now is about all of us collaborating, coming together to solve a particular problem. I listened to my brother, he says that it is not the duty of the president alone, and that all of us must come together and help fight this menace. And I side with that statement. Unfortunately, Salom, my brother Khalid was very vociferous before the elections. In fact, you'll recall that key members of the NDC, I remember my very good friend Sammy Jemfi was asked about collaborating with other Ghanaians to solve the problem. You know his response? He said, oh, he's not prepared to collaborate with Galamsey to solve Galamsey in response to the NPP. That was his response. Today I hear Khalid saying that it is not the duty of the president alone to solve Galamsey and that all of us must come together. Just a few years ago, a few months ago, it was the duty of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo alone to solve Galamsey. Indeed, the current president on the campaign platform, he said, Nana Addo, you have the security, everything has been given to you, solve the problem. And I'm saying I like the rhetoric now, I like the soberness that is coming to play because now the reality is dawning on us. My brother talks about a postmortem. There's no better postmortem than what the TUC did. And I just went on City Online, and my brother, with your permission, this is the caption. Enough of the meetings, take action now. This is TUC. That is the postmortem. You don't need any other postmortem to tell you what is happening. The talk is not reflecting on the ground. It's as simple as that. His issue about a certain Galamsey site has been demolished. Yes, it's been demolished. So what? The turbidity level has even gone higher. He says so now call state of emergency. He doesn't think state of emergency is the panacea. But the current foreign minister, the current lands minister, who is in charge of Galamsey, told us that we should go to for state of emergency. At the time, the turbidity level was even lower now. Was even lower then. If the turbidity water was lower then, but you needed a state of emergency, now the turbidity water has gone worse. Why are you not calling for a state of emergency?
But
why is Khalid? I'm coming. Why is Khalid now telling us that state of emergency is not the panacea when even the turbidity level at the time was even lower? That is the point. It's the double standards. That's where the problem is. And I'm saying I like his rhetoric and I like his calmness now. Now calling for a collaborative effort. I'm not too sure whether now they are prepared to deal with Galamsey to solve Galamsey. Now, is he prepared to...
Maybe the Galamseyers have experience.
They have experience now. That is the point I'm making. It is what was said. Now he talks about time. He made a very interesting point. You asked him about the time, whether they needed more time. He said he doesn't think the question is prudence at this time. Now, time is not prudence.
The point is they are on it. They are on it.
Akufo-Addo was not on it.
No, but you see, the whole Akufo-Addo thing, and the whole
my brother,
Professor Frimpong Boateng report, and
I've read
all
the
of that.
Boateng report. You see, we are politicians. We pick an aspect of the report to bastardize a certain group of people and call the NPP as Galamsey campaigns. But in the same report, it is also indicated there are a lot of NDC people who are involved in Galamsey. It's in the same report.
No, but the leadership of the country was in the hands of. So he had the power at the time to do.
Absolutely. Now the leadership is in the hands of who?
Yeah. So now we've seen some high-level prosecutions. Of course, Wuntumi is happening. We understand Iyoko is investigating some NDC people, like Khalid alluded to, and we heard it.
Where's the report? The Attorney General said he's waiting for the report.
Yeah, so we said
he's waiting for the
they say Iyoko is on it, and it took Iyoko quite some time.
I watched the local government committee just last week, where a BCE confirmed on live television that the constituency chairman's son is involved in Galamsey. It was on television. It was on television.
He did say that?
Yes.
Which constituency? You remember the
it was I'll get it, but I've seen I watched the program. But that's the point I'm making. I'm saying that where we've got into, I like the posturing. And now we are calling for a collaborative effort. Yes, I want to be part of that effort. Now, if I'm not being referred to as a Galamseer, and I want to be part, they want to call all of us into a collaborative effort, so be it. We are prepared to assist. But this was not the rhetoric. This was not. When Sam George said, if Akufo-Addo was serious, and those were his words, or see, if the president was serious, he needs just 10 days.
But you see,
now it's 9 months.
No, wait.
Is Mr. Mahama not serious?
Yeah, but you see, that seriousness perhaps must be put in context. For example, we saw prior to the election some of the rhetoric of some of your colleagues that yes, stopping and yes, stopping or China, all of these things.
We were voted out.
No problem.
Yes.
But so the comments were made prior to the election.
I'm saying we were voted out.
Yeah, so those comments led to
Ghanaians
the voting. But I'm saying that maybe the difference is that key actors of maybe this government at least have not been seen yet saying some of the things that some of your colleagues said.
I'm saying that key actors of this government said that we should go for state of emergency.
What I'm saying is, just a few months ago, in the last review...
I am also telling you that key actors in this government said state of emergency.
No problem.
Yes, where is the state of emergency?
No, I'm saying that the point I'm making is that key actors openly supported Galamsey, saying that yes, stopping and yes, stopping China, and all of that. I'm saying that at least for now, we've not seen government functionaries or I don't want to use kingpins, key members of this government or party, at least saying they will not stop it. It does appear that the conversation or rhetoric is all geared towards solving it, even though we've not gotten there yet.
Key members of my party made those statements, Ghanaians rejected that.
Yeah, so that's the difference.
I'm coming. Ghanaians rejected, Ghanaians rejected that rhetoric from key members of my party, saying those things. They rejected it. They listened to the NDC. When the NDC said, I will repeal the law. I will declare a state of emergency. They listened to that. So when Ghanaians have given you that opportunity, after listening to you, and you come back, and your actions are different, they have every right to question.
Yeah, but the actions are... Look, I think I'm missing the point. My point.
I'm not missing the point.
The actions are different.
No.
The actions are... You said actions...
The point is that you said key members of my party said, Ghanaians rejected that.
Yes.
Thank you.
But at least we've not seen people here saying so.
They don't even need to say it. What Ghanaians want to see is what you promise them. Do it. It's as simple as that. And my brother is talking about postmortem. I'm saying that TUC, just yesterday, 2 days ago, they went down there to do a postmortem. And it's on your website. It says, stop the talk. Action now. Stability level has gone up. That is the postmortem. That is the current situation. It's getting worse, according to the data we have. So if you go to destroy a certain area that was known for Galamsey, you've not finished your job. Because even after destroying that, turbidity level has gone up. Go to the central region.
But the issue about turbidity level, shouldn't you contextualize this? For example, the recent one we had, which was astronomically high, I think was in respect of Ayensu. But other places, I don't have the names, but other places we understand have improved.
If you give me that data, I'll be very happy.
Other places we understand have improved. I'll do that.
As I speak to you now, Central Region, part of Central Region.
And the Konyako headworks shut down.
There's no water. That is the reality. So, Khalid, that is the postmortem. It's not about timing being not prudence. You brought the issue of timing when you were in opposition. You talk about timing. I said Felix Kwachofo, so I watched him. He says, fighting Galamsey shouldn't be a problem. Nana Addo has 5,000 soldiers, 14,000 policemen. That is what he told us. As we speak now, even the police number has gone up. They even have more. And so if we needed 10 days to finish it. Even now, you need even less than 10 days. But here we are, having the same discussion. And I'm saying that I'm happy with his rhetoric, his calmness. And that, oh, now we all have to come together to solve the problem. I want to be part of that solution. So I'm happy that Khalid is calling now for all of us to come together to solve the problem. Because I've seen the effect of Galamsey myself. I've seen it. I'm saying my area, we don't have Galamsey. But I've visited places where it's incredible.
But tell me, why don't you have Galamsey in your area?
I don't think they've discovered any, they've tried anything like that within the area. And I think the chiefs and people have also declared that they don't want that kind of activity within their area. And last week Wednesday, the graphic reported of a Queen Mother who had rejected 2 million. I think we should give her thumbs up for. If we have a lot of the traditional rulers acting that way, 2 million Ghana cedis, a woman says, no, I don't need the money. She even went ahead to seize the excavators. That is something that is worth emulating. If all the others can do same, I think it will help.
So do you belong to the school of thought that suggests that if Galamsey is happening in a particular area, then it surely means that the chiefs and traditional elders in the area may be complicit?
I don't think I can make that categorical statement of they being complicit, but I think they can be of help in dealing with the Galamsey issue. Because all over Ghana, everywhere you go, there are rulers, traditional rulers who control a certain area. And so when I see the Chinese people in Fomena or Mansour Dibia, they came from China. And I'm sure they have collaborators within the system. So if somebody comes to your area, you're a DC, you're a chief, you can't tell me that you don't know that something is going on within your catchment area. So they'll help us, just as the Queen Mother from Efia Kwesi team did. All the others should also emulate. I'm sure that will go a long way to help us bring this whole menace to a controllable level. For now, what we are seeing, if we are not careful, it's going to de-escalate. And my brother, I'm a member of the Energy Committee. We toured the various agencies under the power sector. When we got to Gridco, one of Gridco's major concerns has to do with Galamsey. They are pylons. And I'll show you some of the pictures. Yes.
Digging under them.
They are digging under the pylons. The pylons that hold the wires that brings electricity to your house, they are digging under.
In fact, they dug under real lines.
To the extent that now they have a budget line for reinforcement of the pylons. Yes, and I can show you the issue from the deputy director of Gridco, that now they have to even spend more money just to get. This is it. We have been forced.
You're forced to rush.
Yes.
To reinforce some
to reinforce
of due to Galamsey
yes, due to Galamsey activities.
See, that's
yes,
interesting.
and this is what is happening. It's getting even worse. Now it's not just about water. Even our power sector is being affected. We went to Bui, we visited Bui ourselves. My brother, you should see the kind of Galamsey going on at the banks. Yes. To the extent that, the speed of the water is what turns the turbines to produce electricity. Now, the color of the water has changed. And they have stones, ordinary normal stones, even inside the water. The problem is that when this water rushes into the turbines with the stones, you should know that we are going to have turbines having issues. When the turbines are not working, we have to shut down. And this is a 400 megawatt hydro plant. So you can imagine. So it has gone beyond the normal rhetoric, and that is why I'm happy with Khalid's point that we have to get to a point where the politicization must tone down for the real technical people to handle this issue. If we keep on having this discussion in this manner, we are going to have a big problem. Because what is happening now, my brother, is getting worse. It's getting worse, and people must accept it, that we are not making any major headway. Yes, government is putting in some effort. I've seen the operation, all those guys moving around, burning excavators. That's fine. Those are good efforts. But we need to double up. We need to double up. Otherwise, my brother, we'll be here next year to have the same discussion.
Do you think that state of emergency is the way to go? Do you think so?
So for me, my point is that certain areas must be declared as major security zones.
So that's what they want to do.
Yeah, major security zones.
But not state of emergency.
Major security zones. I mean, people should be barred from going into those areas. As simple as that. I mean, we all know the data is there where the mining in Galamsey is currently ongoing. We know it. I'm sure the national security is aware of it. Simply stop everybody from going into that particular area as quickly as possible. Otherwise, Senior, we'll be back here for this same discussion. We'll be back here. But I when I listen to government communicators and we are doing very well, the previous government left a very bad situation, that's why we voted out.
So, but they need time to solve it. Time.
But they told us 10 days. That's the point I'm making.
10 days was anyway. Well,
if they need time to solve the problem, I'm saying they should just out of candor come out to say that no, we will need some time. We are committed to fixing the problem. Just as Khalid said, please let's collaborate to solve this problem. That for me would be a more convincing argument than this. It's not in our manifesto. We didn't say those ones I don't think are attracting a lot of interest from the Ghanaian people.
Great. This is a big issue. We are live on 97.3 City FM. We are on YouTube and on Channel 1 television. A few of your messages that have come through. This one from Papa BCU in Spinctus, Accra says, hi bro, all said and done. Majority of Ghanaians are now enjoying the good work of His Excellency John Mahama. Galamsey seems to be trending, but after the CSO's meeting with the president, even the hard nut to crack, that's the president of GJ expressed surprise about the good work the government is doing to tackle the issue. The city is stable. Gradually, we are getting there for the betterment of all Ghanaians. Jones Adoboinla says, good morning, Salom. The government of JDM is really doing pretty much within the short period of 9 months. The government has never relented on the fight against Galamsey compared to the previous government. There is no need for strikes and demonstrations anymore because the Galamsey fight is on continuously. That's Jones Adoboinla. Prince Henry in Koforidua says, good morning. Galamsey fight should be collective, devoid of politics. I support the call that chiefs must be proactive in the fight against Galamsey. Also, all various MMDCEs must play a critical role in the fight against Galamsey. I would not be surprised to see the president sacking some MMDCEs in the coming months should they fail to help fight against Galamsey. The situation we find ourselves in now demands collective support from all so we can solve the menace of Galamsey for ourselves and our future leaders. God bless our homeland Ghana. Hashtag the big issue. Hashtag PHK. I'll take a short break. When I return, I'll tell you what the Forestry Commission board chair is been saying in respect of the commission's fight against Galamsey. Of course, you know that the Forestry Commission is key. Forest reserves are being mined. That's why that LI really needs to be repealed. LI 2462 will have to be repealed. And we understand that when Parliament gets back from recess, that's one of the first things that will be tabled. This is the big issue, 97.3 City FM. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Announcing Ghana's first unlimited photocopier leasing. Yes, from just 983 Ghana cedis, you can lease a multifunctional photocopier and print unlimited. Yes, unlimited and free paper every month. Guess what? That's not all. Toners, repairs, and maintenance all are free. And oh, I'm not kidding at all. And we cover the whole country. Yes, the whole country. What are you waiting for? Just visit us at www.valexlease.com or call 0244 644048. Remember, terms and conditions apply. Valix Lease, affordable document management solutions.
Love the Premier League? Your DSTV premium subscription could get you there in real life, Charlie. Stay connected for your chance to watch the Premier League live. Man U versus Man City at Old Trafford or Arsenal versus Man U in London. Stay connected to score with DSTV Premium. This promo is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas Lottery platform. Terms and conditions apply.
This October, Northern Ghana takes center stage. Get ready for the Northern Business Fair 2025, the ultimate one-stop shop for everything made in Ghana in the Savannah, Northern, Northeast, Upper East, and Upper West regions. From hand-woven smocks and intricate crafts to modern manufacturing, innovative packaging of made-in-Ghana products, and thriving homegrown businesses, it's a vibrant celebration of talent, innovation, and authenticity. Brought to you by Channel 1 TV and 97.3 CDFM, it's the biggest trade fair showcasing Kenyan SMEs, startups, research bodies, and indigenous brands making waves across the nation. It's happening on Saturday the 25th and Sunday the 26th of October 2025 at the Tamale Sports Stadium. The time is 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. daily. Want to exhibit? Call 0205-973-973 today and book your space. Don't just hear about it, see it, experience it, and live it. The Northern Business Fair, your market, your connections, your growth. The Northern Business Fair 2025 is powered by Channel 1 TV and 97.3 City FM and is proudly sponsored by EcoBank, Side Hustle, the Ghana Enterprises Agency, and the Ghana Export Promotion Authority.
Welcome back. This is the Big Issue, 97.3 City FM. I am Selom Adonu. We're looking at the issue of Galamsey. Matter will not stop looking at until the problem is resolved. And NIMOS, the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat, is appearing to be doing some job. This is this government's version of the Galamstop and all those things we saw in the previous regime. They appear to be doing some work, raiding some communities, etc., seizing equipment and arresting people. But yes, notwithstanding all these activities, the turbidity levels in some of the water bodies are not doing well. Ayensu, for example, gone up to 80, 90,000 when the acceptable turbidity level should be 500. Last year, when there was this talk about strike, TUC, organized labor, turbidity levels were just around 14,000. Now, in some river bodies or water bodies, it's gone as high as 80, 90,000. And that's not good, that's not good. The Forestry Commission Board Chair, Professor Martin Otin Ababiu, was on this network earlier, and he made some points in respect of Galamsey and what the actors are motivated by. Let's hear him.
The minister spoke the last time. He spoke about the fact that about 47,000 acres of our land was gone. And if you want to look at the size, about 7,500 sports football parks. In terms of, we want to quantify it. The level of degradation of our forest amounts to about 7,500 football park sizes.
Yeah.
And that
Football
tells you
size,
the level of degradation that we are talking about. Well, my good friend, you know that people have realized there's money in there. Remember, we are looking at a situation where now the gold price is going to hit around 5,000, as it were. So even you get a small ounce, you've made money.
Yeah.
So it's not surprising people go into the pit, it caves in, their competitors are killed, they bring them out, bury them, and the next 2-3 days, they are in there. The need to get rich quick is there. Lack of perhaps alternative livelihood in the villages. And the chronic poverty that exists in our rural areas could all account for that. But more importantly, in recent times, we've seen different actors joining those who are using the mining as a business, investing heavily, providing the necessary resources, and bringing in new technology. And that is accounting for the rate at which our affairs are. We're given 2 months initially to submit legwork and come up with. So after our initial deliberation, we decided to give an immediate report, a short-term report, a medium-term report, and a long-term report. And that's exactly what we did. And the report that we have, which we'll be submitting perhaps next week, is underpinned by 3 key principles. Okay. The committee was of the view that the militarized fight against illegal mining is neither elite neutral nor apolitical. And that most of the times the crackdown on illegal mining affects the poor and actually leave those elite.
So are you saying that the military or sort of the forces that have been put on are sort of biased?
Not that. Their modus operandi almost always go against the low income artisanal workers instead of those who are behind the.
So they go attack the small ones.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of the kingpins.
Exactly, because they are on the field. The small ones are always on the field. And you hear the president talk about this several times. Because the small ones are always on the field.
All right, so that was Professor Martin Otin Abebio, board chair of the Forestry Commission, sharing his own views on this. Richard, the soldiers who are on the field, what are we missing? They were on the field many years ago, or a number of years ago. This time we have soldiers on the field again. They don't appear to be making so much headway. Why are the soldiers unable to do their work? And in some cases, we've heard reports that the soldiers themselves guard the galamseys to cause the devastation. Our soldiers, they rather protect the people to do the devastation. Forest guards, NIMOS was entering the forest. Forest guards, by forest guards, I understand they are Forestry Commission people. They were preventing NIMOS from entering the forest. When NIMOS eventually entered the forest, they saw activities going on there. What's happening? Our security people, what's the matter?
So there's a lot of miscommunication and misinformation and misconception about inappropriate mining, which we call galamsey. You see, do we want the people to mine? Yes. Have they been mining for all these years? Yes. Is it helping them? Yes or no? It was the day they touch our water bodies or the activities of their actions affected our water bodies. That was when they created a problem for everybody. The day they touch the forest, that is the day they created a problem for everybody. So if you hear somebody saying that the approach of the soldiers is affecting artisan miners, are artisan miners galamseys? Are small-scale miners galamseys? Communication needs to be done properly, particularly when you are dealing with NDC, NPP, and the slightest mistake you make, the other party takes you on. The lack of proper communication and the appropriateness of the misconception is also what is creating the euphoria and the anxiety in the communities that the galamsey fight is not being fought. Number 2, go back and check. Operation Vanguard was very effective, and find out why they were withdrawn closer to the election. Then you will understand the political interest. When you take NIMOS is doing exactly what they have been asked to do. All what we needed the president or the state to do is to give them exclusivity into some strategic locations. And once the government does that, then they will begin to operate on the certificate of agency. And that is what you see NIMOS doing. But like I said to you, NIMOS is aware that based on the risk assessment we have done for the past 5 years, some of the outcomes of this inappropriate mining affects food production and exportation of food into certain countries because we can be flagged as red flags. So they are mindful of those places. They are mindful of where effect of inappropriate mining affect our energy sector. And they are also aware where it affects the water bodies and predominantly the cocoa sector. 9 months went into the field with a strategic plan, the military, the police, and the BNI in the front line. Then you have other task forces like the Gold Board Task Force, the Forestry Task Force, and the DCEs and the MCEs who have also set up a task force on their own. If we will allow the system to be coordinated properly at the head of affairs at 9 months, then you will see the speed at which they are on now running very fast. Then I also ask the question, you have police officers and police stations across the whole country, and police people have been accused of extorting 10 cedi, 20 cedi. Do you close down the police stations and ask them to go home? No. Allow 9 months to do the job. Nobody has accused 9 months that they have extorted money from anybody. And if that happens, because of the centralized monitoring system they have and the oversight responsibility they have over the task forces of their respective agencies, particularly when you have the BNI in there, it will let them do the job. So let's stop the misconception and let's stop the miscommunication. 9 months have not committed any crime yet, if they will. But then, when the arrest is done and the people are destabilized or they have been distracted from their locations, when it comes to disciplinary actions, when it comes to prosecutions, it's not the work of 9 months. And if the justice system or the Attorney General Department do not have 9 months to put the bad boys behind bars, then you allow them to come back into the space. And when you go with the misconception that when you take them out of the place, they will go hungry and die, then eventually you are tying the hands of 9 months and you are bringing them back into the space. Then, Salon, the last point I want to make on this one is that you have the regional House of Chiefs, the regions where there's a predominant devastation and there's an aggressive activities of inappropriate mining. We have the House of Chiefs. The chiefs are the custodians of some of the lands in that regard. Why are we not bringing the chiefs in? And why are the chiefs not being held accountable? And why are they not taking personal responsibilities for the nature of the devastation that we have seen in their communities? I am saying that so far, 9 months have done a good job, just like Operation Vanguard did, and we call them back. We have not seen political interference in 9 months yet, and we are begging the politicians, do not come there. Allow them to do the work, and let the shared responsibility get along, and we'll be fine. Maybe by middle of next year or by ending of next year, you would have seen the level being cleared if they have the resources and they move at the speed at which they are moving.
I see. Khalid, is there a concern in government circles that very soon we may face a ban of a kind in respect of our cocoa exports and even gold? Because we hear that the soils and even some produce from the soil, vegetables, etc., have been polluted, poisoned by cyanide, mercury, etc. And if our cocoa, which is struggling because the farm areas are being devastated, bought by galamseys, etc., and it goes on, there are international conventions that will begin to frown upon us. Are these concerns in government circles that if this is not dealt with quickly, we may face such consequences? Gold, cocoa, and even other vegetables.
Well, thank you very much, Salon. I see my brother Collins getting very excited with this discussion and keep mentioning that Khalid is blah and blah and blah. But he's not quoted me on anything. I've been very consistent on the fight against galamsey. Right, as a professional researcher myself, my work has been dedicated to mining. So I've been very consistent, both in opposition and in government. So I just want my brother, the aspiring energy minister, jokingly as I'm putting it, to know that that's not what it is. He could probably quote others, but he can't quote me on that. He can only make reference to it. But as I said, I'm still calling on Sandri. As you could see, Richard acknowledged that at least 9 months is doing a fantastic job, and he's calling for NIMOS to carry on with the fantastic job it's doing, devoid of political interference. This is what we call on civil society and others to encourage a government that is making prudent steps in the fight against Galamsey. And that's exactly what Richard has done. So yes, Richard, we hear you loud and clear. We hope that this operation would carry on devoid of politics. Selam, back to your question. I'm just, it's a commitment to the fight against Galamsey that we are all having this conversation. And as you could see, I'm having it from an airport. I'm just returning from the EU Gateway event where Cocoa was discussed. As far as I could say, yes, Galamsey issues are concerned that it is not, or as far as I know, come to the radar in the scaremongering perspective in which others would want to put it. But obviously, if you have Galamsey activities, you have any form of environmental degradation, it will affect crops, it will affect plant, it will affect flora and fauna. So yes, that discussion is around any form of, it is just not designated to cocoa alone. And as a government, we are rather acting to prevent that from happening. But we've not had a red flag warning from any agency, be it the EU, or any trading agency to say that we're going to ban you because of X, Y, Z. But we as a government deem it prudent to put measures in place, preventative measures in place, safeguards in place to actually achieve this, which is why we're calling, and you could see the Gold Board very active in trying to engage in the trading of fair trade gold. And by fair trade gold, I'm referring to us not having, having gold traded devoid of Galamsey, devoid of child labor, devoid of any environmental menace. So I think we're getting there as a government and we're getting there as a people. But again, I still would re-echo my call that this fight is a fight for Ghana. It is not a political fight. It is not a fight for us to trumpet which political office we want to hold in the future as opposition leaders. But it is a fight where we can actually place the context of what is happening, what could be done best at achieving this, rather than pointing fingers or making a call for a state of emergency political. Selam, you realize that all this call for a state of emergency whatsoever, right? From a political lens, you would see where the opposition elements are coming with this. What they are invariably trying to say is that we're calling the president to come out with a state of emergency. They very much know that a state of emergency is not a panacea to this. Right.
But some of your people called for it, just last year.
Yeah. No, what I'm saying, we can discuss that where we contextually if we have to, right? But what I'm saying is that I didn't call for it, did I? Right. So what I'm invariably saying,
but your people did, and your people did.
People did,
and you even supported.
Did my people do that 9 months into the Nana Addo administration?
But you see,
did they do that 2 years into the Nana Addo administration?
No, Khalid.
Not.
The problem.
3 years into the Nana Addo
Khalid, wait.
Salam, let me progress.
Wait. Let me just make this intervention. The situation. No, Khalid, let me do this. The problem has exacerbated. So the problem has exacerbated. The size of the problem today is not as we saw in 2017 or 2018. Bad job. Maybe the previous government did not do well. That's why they were kicked out. Yes. And so you meet it at an advanced stage. So the effort you put in must not be the same as the effort they put in 2017.
No, is it the same? It's not the same. It is not the same. We're doing several measures, destroying Galamsey communities that are emerging or hatched out of Galamsey, putting Marine Coast Guards on the line, putting prudent measures in place, right? Declaring red zones or security zones in some areas. So we are actually doing what we have to do. The fundamental question I ask anyone as a leader, Selam, including yourself and myself, if you took over an administration, even if it's not a country, but let's say it is a country as commander-in-chief, 9 months in, would you go for your topmost security measure? Obviously not. That wouldn't show prudent leadership. You would have to assess the situation. You would have to, take in real information whilst you're trying to curb or put in measures or prudent measures in place. If the president has stood aloof without putting any measure in place, then we can have the cause to say, go for this. As we are 9 months in, look how accelerated he's moved as commander-in-chief in putting NIMOS on the ground, in putting initiatives that had to put in Gold Board task force, among other issues. So if this is happening, then I think that it's about time we really have a real assessment and a postmortem of the last 9 months. I don't want to do the comparison of the last 9 months to the 8 months or to the 8 years of the Nanado administration, because the jury is out there to judge that. But if we begin to do that, where will the solution be? So if you realize, I've been consistent in my discussion of Galamsey issues that it's a national subject. It's not colored. It's not an MPP NDC issue. The water that we drink, the food that we eat, the fruits that we eat are not eaten only NDC MPP. They are eaten by Ghanaians. So, and we must deal with this from a nationalistic perspective, which is why I don't even want into the game of comparison of what the NDC did and what the MPP did. If you realize, since my submission, I have not made a single of such comparison. And I believe that that is where, and I'm calling on my brother Collins, right, the aspiring energy minister, that devoid of us making it MPP, NDC, we can still make our points very clear and solid.
I see. Your government or the republic or the state has begun prosecution of Wontumi. How much of a signal do you hope that sends to other so-called kingpins in the area? Yeah.
I would rather you'd have asked a question of your president instructed his attorney general to investigate leading members of the political party, not least the person, than a vice chair of the party, than a national organizer of the party. And that is a great effort itself. To me, it's an opposition person or opposition leader in his right, being a national chairman or a vociferous national chairman. If the sitting president, regional chairman, I beg your pardon, but if a sitting president has had the effort of asking his attorney general to investigate leading members of his own party, right? Today, if the national chairman, right, cannot make it to cabinet, his vice chairman would. So if that tells you what the position that person holds within the party's locus. Today, when we talk about a national organizer of a party, he is the pinnacle of the party in terms of party mobilization and organization. But when the names came up, the president did not renege, right? He is devoid of who is involved. So it tells you a committed president, a committed cabinet, and a committed leadership. So you'd see that the John Mahama Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman administration is really keen and focused actually exterminating these issues of Galamsey. So yes, I wouldn't go ahead of myself to say this is what to be the verdict on Chairman Wontumi. As you know, the judiciary is an arm of government that are to be independent, and it will deal with it based on its merit. So I wouldn't infer to say this is what it is. And I have no evidence to say Chairman Wontumi is guilty. The courts will determine, the judges will determine. Let's wait until a determination is made. Then we can start to begin to talk about what has been made as a deterrent or not, or whether the issue or whatever verdict he would receive deters others from doing it. But the fundamental example is the internal mechanism that the president has taken in place by actually even instructing his attorney general. That is not to say they are guilty. Just by hearing that they may be involved in this, he instructed an investigation. And I think that is worthy of commendation.
Very well. I'm just looking at your manifesto promise, subtitled Promote Responsible Mining for Sustainable Development. A number of things you said you would do. So far, what I can actually say you've done, correct me if I'm wrong, is the setting up of the Ghana Gold Board and all the things that you said you would do under them. There were other things, like, I don't know if they've done them, you can let me know. Place a ban on new mining activities in forest reserves. Forest reserves, have become a major talking point. And the LI, we hope will indeed make it to Parliament to be repealed. So I'm not sure if there's a ban on new mining activities in forest reserves as we speak, because the LI, as we know it, is still the operational regulation or law. So if somebody is doing it, it doesn't mean the person is illegally mining in the forest reserve once the person comes within the ambit of the LI 2462. So I'm not sure what has been done on that front. Number two,
Salom, if we've come and we haven't issued any license in that regard, that's a step in and of itself for an 89-month-old government, isn't it? We have a 4-year mandate. We have a manifesto promise. That manifesto promise is not a fixed photographic, pictorial promise for 9 months. It is a pictorial fixed promise for 4 years, the mandate we've been given. And we haven't issued any license to that effect for people to mine in forest reserves. That tells you that some commitment and strides are being made towards that.
I see. You also talk about amending the mining and mineral and mining law to impose stiffer punishment on mining in water bodies. The punishments are already stiff. I mean, 15, 20, 25 years in prison, should you be found culpable. I don't know how else you want to make it, but I leave that one. Decentralized regulatory and licensing processes for artisanal miners. I don't know if we have begun that or we have done that. Decentralizing the regulatory and licensing processes.
As you'd see, there's been an administrative change at the helm of the Minerals Commission. So new leadership in place, and it's a start of many of that to come. And that decentralization policy will start with the new leadership, as you'd see. So some efforts again are being made here. So I like that you are asking, you're putting our feet to the fire. But that is also to say we're cognizant of all of this happening. But let's also be cognizant of where we've come from, what steps are being made, and where we are headed.
This also became quite a big matter in the lead up to the election, and Bawumia also found a way, or also promised a similar thing, resourcing the Geological Survey Department to prioritize geological investigation as part of a broader strategy to increase Ghana's stake in its extractive industry. The idea is if the Geological Survey Department, has data on where there is gold or where there is no gold, it will help so people don't go and degrade some land in search of gold. There's nothing. They move to another place. They know where it is, and that will help. I don't know if you can give us any updates, or I don't know if any work really has begun on this front, funding, etc. Can we know? Do we know?
No, but Salam, as I said, new leadership has just been changed in the last few weeks at the Minerals Commission. I wouldn't want to go ahead of themselves because there are people that have been given clear mandate to run the commission. So I'm sure in due course, you might bring in the head of the Minerals Commission or that agency to really speak to these issues most importantly. I
see. All right. Let me come to, just hang in there for me, Prof. Let me come to the studio. You see, they talk about political will is important. So we see some activity on Mahama trying to investigate, or actually investigating his senior party officials, party organizer, vice chair, etc., allegedly complicit in this. What Frimpong Boateng said in his report was that names were mentioned to him, as in the president, but he didn't bother. The list Sir John, for example, name came up. And people knew that St. John, as head of the Forestry Commission, was actually overseeing Galamsey in the forest reserves. But nothing really happened. And from what Boateng said, he told the president in front of Sir John that Sir John was one person undermining the fight against Galamsey, and nothing was done. So is that not a difference in leadership which we should be happy about?
Well, first of all, I didn't know that my brother Khalid was a prophet. Giving prophecies of what is yes, what he
no, but it's good. We'll be happy. We'll be happy about it.
But some prophecies are very interesting prophecies.
Yeah.
I take this one.
Yes.
This prophecy, I take it.
And we'll sow into it.
Well, it's a good call. I mean, when I heard the president say that he has directed his attorney general to investigate key members of their political party, I was excited. It sends a certain kind of good, you see, the cameras, send some optics. It's quite interesting. But I know the instructions from the AG to Iyoko was done on the 15th of July.
AG to Iyoko, okay.
AG to Iyoko, the letter that asked Iyoko to investigate this.
So you can actually confirm that there was such instruction given?
Yes, there was a letter to that effect.
Okay.
It was done on the 15th of July. So July, August, September, and we're in October. So we are talking about 3 months. 3 months now. The AG was subsequently asked the question during when the president met the CSOs also. And the AG's point was that he's still waiting for Yoko to submit some reports to him. It's been 3 months. I'm just hoping that this is not going to be one of the mere rhetorics that we hear from politicians, and that some concrete efforts will be made, at least to
But I mean, in the case of Wontumi, it took 10 months for us to get where we are. So 3 months may
So
not
I'm
be.
just saying that I'm just giving the dates. He said the president had instructed. I said, yes, the optics are nice. It's been 3 months now. I'm just hoping that as time goes on, we'll be hearing something from them with regard to this particular instructions from the AG to the Yoko. That will reinforce our belief that the president really is committed to dealing with illegal mining, even if it happens amongst his folks. That will be good. So I'm just waiting to see what the reports will be like.
So juxtapose that against Wontumi's prosecution. Are you happy that a kingpin allegedly is being chased? By the
I'm happy
powers
that he's going through due process. I was not excited about the midnight going to his house looking for. I was not happy about that particular aspect. But I'm happy that yes, he was invited. That's how it should be. You're a lawyer and you understand these things. That's how it should be. You are invited, you write your statements, you are charged, you are given an opportunity for a bail. Now he has his day in court. He says he has pleaded not guilty. That is an opportunity, that platform is an opportunity for him to state his position and for the state to also state their position. At the end of the day, if the judge, after looking at the evidence, decides otherwise, that Wontumi is guilty, we all will accept it because that is the law. That is the right processes. As I said, I was not excited about the midnight raiding of the house and all those. That I was not excited about. But I'm happy about the fact that this time round, invited, charged, he's given his statement. He has his day in court. He went to court. He was remanded. He has gone through the bail processes. He's been given bail. He's come out. Now prosecution will start. He has his lawyers. His lawyers will go and argue his case. At the end of the day, if the judge, on the basis of the evidence, says he's guilty, everybody will understand that he went through the right process at least to be charged or to be found guilty. That, for me, I'm happy about that process. And so now he has his day in court. I'm just hoping that, as I said, the president has directed that his own people should be investigated. We are hoping that it's not going to take very long for us to get a report as to what has happened to that instructions. Now, my very good friend and brother, was what they told Ghanaians. It was on the basis of that they were voted into power. If for anything they want to change that narrative, they should just come back to the Ghanaian people and say, on the basis of what we have seen coming into power, we don't think that state of emergency is the right way to go. We will understand them. But I don't think anybody should hide behind these things to create a certain impression that we didn't say we want to stay. Yes, Khalid himself did not say so. But his foreign minister now said it. His lands minister said it. His education minister said it. The president said he's waiting for advice from the National Security Council. Who are the members of the National Security Council?
No, but the
National Security Council. Who are the members of the National Security Council?
No, but the top security guys haven't spoken.
I said, who are the members? Who are the members?
No, but I mean the CDS is a member.
The foreign affairs minister is a member.
Yeah, but that's just one. It's just one of many people.
The point I'm making is that the president says he's waiting for the advice. That advice has already been given by Okujeto.
That was in opposition.
Oh, so now it has changed.
No, what I mean is there are other, like they say, they've not exhausted.
If it has changed,
they said they've not exhausted the avenues
if now
available.
The foreign minister has changed his stance.
We've not heard him though.
We've not heard him. You will hear him, Enche. If he has changed his stance, he should just let us know. And we will understand him. But I'm saying that nobody should hide. The president saying, I'm waiting for national security advice. All the members of the national security are appointed by the president. Everybody on that list is appointed by the president.
But they are there because we trust that they'll be independent and give technical advice, like the security
that
chiefs.
That technical advice has already been given by some of the members already.
No, the security chiefs, the technical people.
I wonder when they go to cabinet, when Ama Kofi-Boa sits, and Haruna sits, and Okujeto sits, what do they tell the president?
They tell him the situation on the ground.
And what is the situation on the ground?
That they are fighting it.
That 9 months ago, it was so bad, let's go for state of emergency. But now, Mr. President, it's not bad. It's not that bad.
No, Mr. President, we see the activity. Let's give it time. All right, so
let's give time. So my brother, yes, he may not have said it himself. But where he sits now, he's a beneficiary of the politicization of Galamsey. He's a beneficiary. He now sits at Jubilee House working for the vice president. And of course, I mean, he's an astute economist. I mean, I've met him a couple of times. I mean, very brainy guy. But I'm saying that now he's calling for depoliticization. But he's a beneficiary of the politicization of Galamsey. He's a beneficiary. There are videos that Cities TV has shown where members of the NDC went to the Galamsey area and told them that vote for us when we come, we'll allow you to do your Galamsey. There are videos to that effect. In fact, the president told us that when he comes, the first thing you do is to free all those people who have been arrested. Those young boys who have been arrested. Now the president is still arresting. He's arresting. That is the point I'm making. He told us, don't worry, when I come, that's what the president said. Salom, you know what I'm talking about. But today, Khalid is saying that the effort of the president is leading to arrest.
The president's point is that we arrest the small.
So now the people they arrest, those are the campaigns.
No, but he's been consistent on that though, because recently when he said that.
No problem. The people who have been arrested now, are they the campaigns?
No, they are not. But I think his position, I heard him the last time, and he was suggesting that the judiciary should look at it and give them a slap on the wrist. When the other people said, no, there's no slap on the wrist. The law is the law, and the punishment in there is what it is.
I'm saying that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama said that when he comes, he will free the young ones who have been arrested. Today, the people who have been arrested, are they the campaigns for the young ones?
One campaign is being prosecuted.
That is the point I'm making. So yes, Khalid, you may not have said it yourself, but I'm telling you that you are a beneficiary of the politicization of Galamsey. But I agree with him today that if we want to solve the problem, we have to depoliticize the issue. And his call for all of us to come together to solve the problem, I'm with him. On a personal note, I am prepared to assist. I am prepared, and I'm sure my political party will be prepared, because what we are seeing now is getting worse. And he keeps talking about the postmortem and the postmortem and the postmortem. What is a postmortem? A postmortem is just a re-examination. That's it. To find exactly what is happening at a particular point in time. That's a postmortem. And I'm telling him, Khalid, that the TUC has already done the postmortem. They have already.
I see.
Ghana Water has told us that they've shut down their plants. That is the postmortem. That is the postmortem. You don't need anybody to tell you what is happening now. The reality on the ground is that in spite of all the effort that he talks about, the situation is getting worse. That is the reality.
I see. Let me take a few messages, one or two messages. Chris Akume, who is a senior lawyer, says, good morning, Galamsey is a threat to our survival, and we must act militantly against it, escalating above present level. My advice is to establish special Galamsey courts in the Galamsey areas to aid prosecution. That's what he says. The crime does not wear political color. A suspect of a criminal act may be treated as an individual and not as a member of a political party. Yeah, that's fine. So let me just do this finally before we move on to the next matter. Richard, what will success look like? And it's the same question for all of you. What will success for you in this fight look like, realistically?
Okay, so success will be when we have the reverse osmosis, the carbon filtering, and the famous or the unfamous dechemicalization and the troubles it came with. When you have the water bodies being clean and the water plants are not being shattered, a success will be when the 21 hotspots declared as a result of the mapping and the survey done by the NIMOS guys have been taken care of, and we reclaim the land to that regard. A success will be when our forests are protected. A success will be when the justice system and the leading prosecutor, the Attorney General, will help us put the bad boys behind bars. A success will be when the NIMOS guys will remain committed and they'll be motivated enough to get a job done without political interference. One of the things that has created a problem for this government is the hesitation in repealing the famous or the infamous LI 2464. If they had repealed the act by now and replaced it with what Attorney General spoke about, it would have boosted the energy within the system. But you want to believe that they will repeal it. If that is done, then that will also be part of the success we want to talk about. Another success area is when the gold board guys with their licensing regime will complement what happens at the Minerals Commission. Minerals Commission was issuing out licenses left, right, center, knowing very well they do not have the capacity to enforce compliance. So if you have a gold board regime with a licensing regime that is more particular about where the gold is coming from, and those authorized to deal in that area, and where there are infractions, the law courts will be the right places to deal with those issues. Then you are having a streamlined operation where from one angle, you will get to the other angle, and it gets the job done, and everybody becomes free. So for me, as an investigator and as somebody who has done predominantly risk assessment in this area, these are the key points we are looking at, and we are watching it closely. And when it's not matching up, we will draw the attention of the appropriate authorities. Thank you, Salom.
Very well. Khalid, what will success... but before that, Richard, will you put a timeline to it? All the things you have said, will you put a timeline to it?
No, I'm thinking that if they have the technology to clean up the water bodies, that will predominantly help us. And that should be from what I have seen in some other countries, particularly with the reverse osmosis and the carbon filtering. That should take us just about 6 months. If we have the resources available and you have a call-off of the forest area where the pathway is created into our water bodies because of the debris, then it will fall within the 6 months to 1 year. If you can take the guys out of the particular areas where the nature of the activities get the debris into the water bodies, then it fits into within the 6 months to 1 year. And by next year, November, October, by this time, if the resources are made available and the technology is made available, then we'll have a different story from there. Then again, let me say this one to my brother Khalid and my uncle in the studio. NDC NPP politics, some aspect of it has been unproductive. This is Saturday morning. People are expecting us to profess solutions. And the blame game, and the blame game, and the blame game is where we are now. So let's leave the blame game and wait for 3 months when it's election. Then they'll wear their NDC colors and the NPP colors and get to the field. So that we'll be talking particularly about solution, particularly when my brother Khalid is an astute technocrat and my uncle in the studio is vying for the energy minister.
No, it's not vying. It's not vying.
You agree with me?
It's not vying. Grace will smile on him.
It's a prophecy he has accepted.
Okay.
It's a prophecy he has accepted. So I'm going to add
From Prophet
Khalid. So that we take away the politics and we go with the solutions and everybody will be fine.
Very
God bless all of you.
Great one. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Khalid, yes, what will success for you look like?
Yeah, so Abid, on a lighter note, I think it's very dangerous to always have Collins alone in studio because it brings out his partisan shine a lot. This is not the Collins I know. But moving on to the point, Collins still keeps making reference to the call for state of emergency and all of these things within a political context, which, for want of a better word, I want to depoliticize. You see, when we talk about the Honorable Haruna, the Honorable Okujato Ablakwa, the Honorable Sam George all calling for, at what point did they call for a state of emergency? Right? They called for a state of emergency when we had a whole minister for lands. You remember the Boating Gate, the report and what it impugned. They called for a state of emergency when we have all of these issues as far as what Operation Vanguard was concerned. So the president was given a lot of respite to implement ground policies to see how he could exterminate this before it came to a point of state of emergency. And I keep asking, at what point? Was it at the first year, the second year, the third year, the fourth year, the seventh year, or the eighth year? This is why we need to contextualize it rather than trying to compare apples to oranges when it comes to the call for state of emergency. Salom, you see what the opposition is trying to do with this? Whereas we're calling for a national consensus, they see it as a right time to say, Mr. President, call for a state of emergency. The next thing they're going to do is we're having a vote of no confidence. Much as it will not stick, but the nuisance value of it is what they are looking to run off with when they have other issues that they could concentrate on in terms of professing solutions. Salam, on your sister network, Multimedia, Newsfile, when I was there, I think sometime a fortnight ago, I did mention that, look, in trying to call for a concerted effort, we need to even bring in the multinationals. Let's say their discretionary spending of corporate social responsibility for the next 2 years, can they dedicate it in collaboration with civil society, government, and local authority to the fight against Galamsey, and see if after 2 years we can make some progress or not. I'm not saying the 2-year mark is a mark to the extermination of Galamsey or the amelioration of Galamsey issues. As Richard rightly, came in with his technical expertise, efforts are being put. Salom, you would see even critical agencies like the EPA. See how the boss of the EPA has been active since taking office in the fight against Galamsey. We talk about the Minerals Commission, which has a mandate, and I indicated the president, in his own wisdom, has just changed leadership at the Minerals Commission. He's made some changes. Let's see how the new leadership would also play out in all of this. So these are all within the confines of the efforts that are being made as far as Galamsey issues are concerned. We are talking about turbidity of water. We're talking about all of these grave issues staring at us. Is it a build-up from 8 years ago? These are fundamental questions we need to ask. But yes, we have inherited a bad situation, but the contextualization of it also helps in the sort of solution you proffer to this. So I am still calling on all and sundry. Let's come together. This is a national fight, right? Collins, we've all seen the arrest of Chairman Wontimi. We're not politicizing it. We just hope that the state agencies will do the right thing in terms of he's been granted bail. He has access to a lawyer, right? Hitherto, we have people in previous times invited to Yoko on their birthdays, etc., etc. But we don't want to go there. We don't want to say this is politics. This is MPP. There's no win in this, right? Galamsey is not on the ballot sheet. Galamsey is not in the ballot box. What we need to do is the ravages of Galamsey, which are killing people, maiming kids, born, right? This, affected our food, among other issues. You could see how in the run-up to all these discussions within even academic confines, the use of the term by a professor who in her own right has, a critical state agency like the EPA, how certain people thought to disingenuously ridicule her, right? Is that what we should be doing, even as academics in the fight against this? So we are calling, or what we as a party or a government is, that we are staying committed to the fight. We're inviting people like Collins to join on. I know he plays a critical role in Parliament. Let his voice be heard in the neutral call and the departization of this issue. Let's speak of it devoid of NDC MPP. Very well.
Thanks, Khalid. Collins, your final thoughts on this. What will success look like?
Well, I heed to the call by Khalid that we should depoliticize the issue. And I've been speaking on the issue of Galamsey for a very long time, and my position has always been very clear that there's no need for us to support Galamsey. It doesn't help anybody. We've seen the devastation of our water bodies, of our land, of individuals. I mean, children are now being born with some dysfunction and all that. So all of us must get to a point that things must change, and sometimes, whether I like it or not, we are politicians. Now he's calling for national consensus. Yes, I support national consensus. But when you call for national consensus, you also have to be fair. He talks about context. What was their position a few years ago, a few months ago, about national consensus? It was Nanado. It was the Galamsey campaign. Nanado should solve the problem. Nanado should solve the problem. Now they are calling for national consensus. Yes, we want national consensus, but they should be bold enough and humble enough to accept that the way and manner they campaigned on this Galamsey issue to the benefit of them, they should know that yes, maybe going forward, we have to find a way of doing our campaigns in a different way. I'm saying Sammy Gyamfi told us that he cannot collaborate with Galamseyers to solve Galamsey. That's what he told us. If now they see us that we are not Galamseyers, that's fine. We thank God that time heals, time changes. So now if you are not Galamseyers and he's calling for national consensus, I'm all for it. I'm going to join the call by Prophet Khalid so that we bring Galamsey to at least a controllable level to the benefit of all Ghanaians.
Great. Yeah, so we'll take a short break. Before that, let me take a few of your messages. Let's get it right. If the previous MPP government had confronted illegal mining the way this government is doing, we wouldn't have gotten to this stage. Justice in Community 1, Tema. This one without a name says, my brother, don't bother your head. His comments are appalling. Well, I don't know. Siselom isn't your everyday journalist. I don't know whose comments are appalling, but you may add your name and put more context around it so we can appreciate this. Hello, Salam. All the excavators in the forest were imported. So long as they have chassis numbers, they can be traced to importers from records at the port and DVLA. If government wants to go after the kingpins, they should simply use those records. This Kofi in Tema. Good morning, Salam. The government of JDM is really doing pretty much within the short period of 9 months. The government has never relented on the fight against Galamsey compared to the previous government. Okay, it said there's no need for strikes and demonstrations anymore because the Galamsey fight is on continuous. That's from Jones Adoboy in La. I take a short break. When I return, we'll look at the Abrigo Gracia matter, the El Salvadorian whose supposed deportation or alleged deportation to Ghana is creating more issues. And there are a few other things in that respect we'll look at. This is the big issue. We'll be right back.
This October, Northern Ghana takes center stage. Get ready for the Northern Business Fair 2025, the ultimate one-stop shop for everything made in Ghana in the Savannah, Northern, Northeast, Upper East, and Upper West regions. From hand-woven smokes and intricate crafts to modern manufacturing, innovative packaging of made-in-Ghana products, and thriving homegrown businesses, it's a vibrant celebration of talent, innovation, and authenticity. Brought to you by Channel 1 TV and 97.3 CDFM, it's the biggest trade fair showcasing Kenyan SMEs, startups, research bodies, and indigenous brands making waves across the nation. It's happening on Saturday the 25th and Sunday the 26th of October 2025 at the Tamale Sports Stadium. The time is 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. daily. Want to exhibit? Call 0205-973-973 today and book your space. Don't just hear about it, see it, experience it, and live it. The Northern Business Fair, your market, your connections, your growth. The Northern Business Fair 2025 is powered by Channel 1 TV and 97.3 City FM and is proudly sponsored by EcoBank, Side Hustle, the Ghana Enterprises Agency, and the Ghana Export Promotion Authority.
This week on the Upside Down Show, Frema Idunyame and Nana Tufo-Boateng welcomed the Palestinian ambassador to Ghana, His Excellency Abdel Fattah Ahmed Khalil Al-Satari, for a heartfelt and insightful conversation. He takes us back to his childhood and opens up about the pain and resilience of his people back home.
My mother teach us to have high dignity. Don't ask anyone to help you. Don't ask anyone to give you something, you know. You should stand on your legs. Don't allow to anyone to broken you or broken your family.
How do you feel in the night when you think about your family back home?
Gaza, the people suffering too much. What's happening in Gaza now, something different. This is the first time in the history. There is no light in Gaza from the 7th of October to now. There is no light.
How many years now?
Close to 2 years.
Close to 2 years.
Yes,
wow.
There is no light.
Amid the challenges, he's still keeping hope alive, as he also reveals his favorite Ghanaian dish and much more.
What's your favorite Ghanaian food?
Fufu.
And what?
Only I eat the fufu.
Light
I like
soup?
it.
Which of the soups?
I eat the fufu only.
Make a date with us this Sunday on the Upside Down Show at 7 p.m. prompt, only on Channel 1 TV.
Welcome back. This is The Big Issue. We are live on 97.3 City FM. We are on Channel 1 television and also on our socials. Now, there's been some discussion around government's arrangement with the United States of America to accept some deportees from the U.S. In the last few months, a number of people have been deported to Ghana, and some have gone ahead to go back to their countries, like Nigeria, etc. But the confusion or the controversy really is that Parliament doesn't know about this. Parliament has not seen the agreement between Ghana and the U.S., and the law really is that anytime the state engages in an international agreement, Parliament must see it, ratify it, possibly pass a resolution on it, etc. But that hasn't been done in this case. The Foreign Affairs Minister, Okudzeto Ablakwa, says that they are the MOU stage, and that on the advice of the Attorney General, this is not an agreement, and so that doesn't bring in the issue of Parliament at all. The matter of ratification or taking the matter to Parliament, the agreement to Parliament doesn't arise. Parliament, minority especially, say no. They have to see it. Now, just when the matters were dying down, Okudzeto Ablakwa, Foreign Minister's defense of this was that people come to Ghana anyway. Porous borders, our West African brothers come to Ghana anyway. So if they have gone in search of greener pastures, like what some of our compatriots do, and they use illegal means to get there, and the U.S. is deporting them, why shouldn't we accept them? In any case, they are just like us. They are not criminals. But Ghana will not accept criminals. So West African brothers, Pan-African spirit, empathy, etc. So that appeared to have done it. And just when we thought that was it, there was a news item on Western websites that an El Salvadorian gentleman by the name Abrigo Garcia, who is been going through some trials in his country and even in the U.S., was to be deported to Ghana. And Ablakwa Okudzeto, the Foreign Affairs Minister, came out vehemently on Facebook to refute the claim and said there was no such arrangement between Ghana and the U.S. And the U.S. and Ghana was not going to accept Abrigo Garcia. This has brought back the question that what really is in the agreement? What did Ghana agree with the U.S. to do? So that's the matter we're discussing for the next few minutes, and then we'll see if we have time to deal with some other thing, MPP balloting and Komla Japon's 4 million matter and all of that. But for now, this is the matter. Let me start off with Richard Kumado. Richard, we've not seen the agreement. I don't know if you have seen it or you know what is in there, the MOU. Normally, in things like this, what are the likely trade-offs that may happen? People have cited the recent visa restrictions and the revocation, etc., as one of the key things that made Ghana agree to the terms. We know Trump, very transactional in how he does these things. What possibly do you think could be in this agreement?
Okay, so before the MOU or the agreement to be signed with the U.S., you will want to have your Attorney General involved because of the geopolitical issues and because of the international legal requirements to be met. Then secondly, you want to have your foreign minister making the point for some of the lines that are going to find themselves into the agreement because of diplomacy and because of how nations are dependent on one another and the need-based approach we bring to government. Then, of course, the next person you want to have at the table will be the Minister of Interior. And that deals with the backgrounds of the people who will be coming to this country in terms of the risk assessment, the crime aspect of it, and the national sovereignty. I want to believe that these three people have sat on the table and they have agreed for whatever find themselves into the MO did. And to that regard, where there are discrepancies or there are excesses, because we are a sovereign nation, we have the ability to take a decision in the best interest of Ghana. But what will be the trade-off? If you know how these things work and you play in the arena of geopolitics, whether we made the first call or the America make the first call, they will be looking to bargain And if your 3 months visa to your 5 years visa is one of the things that was used, then that become a benchmark. Then, of course, we have a good relationship with America. We have partnered in various projects, on various projects. So the visa could be one of them. Agua could be another one. And your energy sector could be another one. After all, you also take money from them to finance some aspect of your budget. So all these things are going to be discussed based on the fact that the President of America deals in transactions as part of his governance style. What you need to do in the interest of Ghana is to put your best interest forward. And best interest means that the nature of the agreement will favor you and to not be subchanged. The best practice will be that you put in the very requirements you need to grant opportunities for your people. The other best interest will be that you want to establish a relationship where whoever you are receiving are people whose backgrounds you know and are people who you are determined that you are willing to accept them. And to the extent that governance is on the open and democracy is on the open these days, whatever happens in America can be seen in Ghana, and it will be quicker to check whether this particular personality has landed here and what are the terms of reference and whether the MOU we have with them has been flouted. Then we can take it from there and move forward.
I see. Khalid, what is it that is not making the Foreign Affairs Minister want to bring the agreement to Parliament? He says yes, transparency, that's his message in respect of the US's acceptance that Ghana will not accept the gentleman. He says that at all times government has been transparent with the people, etc. Why won't the Parliament look at this document so we all know what is in there, so we know what to expect? Is there any serious security matter in there that we don't have to know about, for which reason it's being kept away from us?
No, I don't want to believe that it's being kept away from us. And as Richard rightly spoke about, I mean, these things are not new, right? Within the fluid, blurry nature, especially these days, having the Trump White House, especially with the big brother attitude America plays within the geopolitical landscape in terms of trade tariffs, et cetera, et cetera. As you'd realize, prisoner exchange, deportees having to play a role in a third country or third party country in transit forms or integrated forms are all part of MOUs, frameworks, and what in diplomatic parlance they might refer to as readmission agreements, right? So this is not new. It happens all the time. And as Richard rightly put, and I can confirm authoritatively that these things are done whilst looking at the background of these people. This is an immigration case. And often than not, with someone that has been sojourning for a very long time abroad, only recent to be back home, I've met immigrants who have become illegal, just by sheer ignorance, by not knowing some regulations. It's not everyone that is illegal that is deemed criminal. So, there are people that really need this. There are people that were even born in the UK or in the US that do not know that we need to apply for certain documentation to regularize our stay whatsoever. So, there's a certain compassionate dimension to this that you have to look at when dealing with, the grand scheme of things, especially so with a Trump White House. So I do not want to say that anything has been put in secrecy. If anything has been put in secrecy, you would have realized that, a flight comes in, people get off the flight, they're put in transit, they either stay within the ECOWAS limited 91 day and they are being transported to their various countries. But no, the minister has been explicit. And I saw the minister even concede to say that, look, have more coming. That is the level of transparency we're talking about. I don't think Parliament is the only litmus test to transparency or the only microscope within which we can view some of these things from a transparent lens. To do this, as Richard rightly put, you have the foreign minister, that's the sector minister who plays a role. You have the attorney general, and as you know, anyone who knows the expertise of Dr. Ayine, you know that when it comes to international trade and when it comes to international relations issue, he's top on his job. And having such a person as Attorney General, the chief lawyer or the chief advisor when it comes to legal matters to the president and the state in a Trump White House is very critical, where he's using trade tariffs as a big stick to beat other nations or as a big bargaining chip. So dealing with Trump, one ought to be very strategic in what, because in Africa or within the African landscape, you'd realize that Nigeria has played host to UK, US, European deportees. In Ethiopia, so within Africa, Ethiopia has played host to Saudi Arabian, Yemenis, and the US as well. Even within West Africa, Sierra Leone, Liberia have all played this, where logistics being deployed by the country sending them, right, to aid with the utmost or the onwards integration or transition to their countries of abode. You realize that all of the people that has been accepted are of West African origin. I mean, what has happened to ECOWAS? What has happened to our protocols? What has happened to integration? We are a host. So in diplomacy on statecraft, politics play a role, right? At the very moment where we have trade issues or the big trade stick being used as a bargain or a stick and carrot bargain by the Donald Trump administration or the Trump White House, we are at the same time hosting AfTA. So we headquarters the Africa Free Trade Area. So these are all signals of compassion, signals of legality, signals of diplomacy, signals of geopolitics that are being played within a tactical manner, right, or enveloped by statecraft, other than to say, I'm refusing to go to Parliament. I mean, if Parliament feels that there ought to be some scrutiny to it and they call for it, I am pretty much sure that the Honorable Foreign Minister would avail himself to answer the needed questions. So none of this has been done in secrecy. Everyone knows what is happening. And as you would see, there has been a diplomatic host, or will I say a security host, that came out from the international news stating that they were bringing yet another one. And the Homeland Security has come to deny this, that's not it. There might have been an error somewhere. So in an era where new media is fast moving, the geopolitical lines are very blurred, dealing with this, one ought to be very prudent and tactical. And that's exactly what the government of the day is doing. Pre-screening of these people or these deportees is something government never compromised. In the grand scheme of things, if government is happy to say there were trade-offs, I'm sure that would be announced to the Ghanaian public to view to say, okay, well, this is it. But mind you, our quick nature in running commentary or sideline commentary to say that has been tied to visa regulations is neither here nor there. If you look at the visa regulatory issue, it did not affect only Ghana. It was a blanket thing that Trump did, just as with trade tariffs as well, right? Much as with DFID, not DFID, sorry, USAID, when he woke up one morning and decided that I was going to pull all of this off. It was not even, those who understand the White House politics or the White House politics would have noticed that it was not even targeted at Africa, right? It was an internal issue that they were dealing with the bureaucrats of USAID, if you read the political fault lines and the fallouts from these. So I think that, yes, we are subjected to make interpretations to happenings and coincidence of diplomatic events, but they may not be as we think it is. But the assurance to the good people of Ghana is that President Mahama and President Nana Akufo-Addo will not endanger you, right? You have a very formidable Attorney General who is well versed in international trade and relations. You have your chief diplomat in the person of the Foreign Minister, Honorable Okudzato, who has been ranking member and understand what he's doing. Remember, Salon, in all of these issues, they are not permanent enemies and friends when it comes to issues of geopolitics and international relations. Remember, right, a very harrowing example, though, that I would have to give, but for the appreciation of the discussion. When we had the Melkon disaster, it was the Israeli embassy that came to our aid. What is our relationship today? It's still what it is. But we still stood our ground to speak for the Palestinian people by even sending aid in local Ghanaian manufactured food items to them. But that hasn't strained our relationship with the Israeli people. So what it tells you is that being tactical and fleet in maneuvering your diplomatic fault lines in trying to achieve the purpose and essence of geopolitics and positioning your country right and formidable is very key. President Mahama was at the UN General Assembly. He spoke vehemently against the persecutions of the Palestinian people, but that hasn't strained our relationship. So this is again as being tactical but calling for the right thing to be done. So yes, it is a fluid space. These things have happened over a longer period of time, but you would realize that it's not new to the international landscape. I remember people are trying to excavate issues of the Gitmo 2, trying to make comparisons to all of that. But the assurance to the good people of Ghana is that President John Dramani Mahama and his Vice Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman would not put us in harm's way. They have assembled the right decision, they sought the right advice, an MOU, or based on an MOU, this was executed.
I see. Only that, people think that this whole MOU discussion is a way of, it's a backdoor way of going around Parliament. So Parliament, the people's representative, don't know the full extent of the agreement.
No, but Salob, I don't think that we're going around Parliament. But as you would know, Collins sits on the other side of Parliament. They've gone to sit on the Yoko's premises, asking for someone to be released, either that they were not going to go home, even though they went earlier than expected. But you would realize that if this was as people painted, the Afenyo Makin-led minority would have really called for this to be done. So I don't think that there have been a backdoor
but they've been calling for it to be done, actually. And he will make the call again, and he's made a call. I mean, they've asked that the agreement come to Parliament.
We know when he makes a hard call, don't you?
I see. All right. So, Colin, so you're not making the hard call there. But in any case, the decision, if there was a decision at all, is been rescinded. Foreign Minister came up strong. The U.S. has responded that they are no longer bringing the gentleman. That should close the matter, shouldn't it?
So first of all, let me say that the minority members on the Foreign Affairs Committee have been very, very vociferous on this particular matter. Just this morning, the ranking member, Abu Jinapo, has posted on his Facebook page, still calling for the MOU to be brought to Parliament. And there's a reason for that. I have here the Hansard of Parliament, which is the record of Parliament. This was when the Gitmo 2 issue came up.
Yeah.
Now I want you to listen to what Okudzeto Ablakwa said. With your permission, let me read. Just some 3 minutes. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion ably moved by the Honorable Chairman of the Committee on Foreign Affairs that this House ratifies the agreement between the government of Ghana and the government of the United States of America to continue to host the 2 former detainees of Guantanamo Bay who have been in this country since January 2016. This was when 2 of the detainees were brought in. Government then, the NDC government then, did not bring the MOU or the agreement to Parliament.
The Supreme Court.
So some citizens of Ghana went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court directed that it should come to Parliament for ratification. And this is the argument of Okudzeto. Mr. Speaker, in doing so, I must indicate that Ghana will certainly be joining the ranks of other countries who have spoken against the continuous existence of the Guantanamo Bay facility. We do know that Amnesty International continues to wage a global campaign against the detention of suspected terrorists and other persons at the Guantanamo Bay facility. Some of them have been there for more than 15 years without trial. Mr. Speaker, the need has arisen now for this House to ratify this agreement following